I would like to call the order today's meeting. Call the meeting to order. Okay, today's thought of the day, PM to me, please.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Nothing can stand in the way of the power of millions of voices calling for change. This is the quote from the previous American President Barack Obama. So, a few days ago, as you know, Donald Trump came to Japan and have a discussion with Mr. Shinzo Abe. And what I saw on the media, how Dr. Trump was talking about the trade with Mr. Abe. And my question was, Mr. Trump was trying to sell the product, American product, and the way of spending a lot of money can change the millions, the way of spending millions of money can call for change rather than hearing millions of voices for the change. Can spending the money will solve a problem that will lead to the better solution in the future? So I thought it was like an interesting discussion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the next question. Last week, Toastmasters in Japan had district contest, and both PM Oikawa and PM Chawei won the third prize.
Just one comment. It was an arduous journey to the final stage. I took great care to do it exactly right in terms of the voice volume, gesture, poses, and pitch. And I think I delivered. Thank you very much for your support.
Okay, thank you. Please give us a comment.
I had such a good time on the stage. And I just have one goal for myself. That is, I want to let the message to cross out. And then whether it's to win or not, that's beyond my control. And then it turned out it's very competitive. I saw so many good speakers on the stage. But luckily, this trophy. I want to pass it around, let you to touch it, because your comment and feedback made it back to Sendai, so I feel we own it together. So please hold it, touch it.
There are 184 clubs in Japan, and two prize. We got the two prize. It's a great achievement. Big applause again. Okay, any other business session? Please.
So, changing by two of wonderful speakers. So, thanks to Toastmasters Charpe and Sat, and also Manami-san and Daniel, we made Area 11 newsletter. So, I printed out some of them. So, please read this if you have a chance. I pass around it. That's all.
Thank you. Other business session?
I forgot what I'm supposed to say anymore. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Thank you. It was wonderful. I ate so much steak. Oh, it's gorgeous. American steak is probably, but you're increasing the volume of American steak, ladies and gentlemen. It's coming into Japan. Volume is up, so please support it and eat it because it's worth it. And I'm going to pass this around. And thank you very much to Toastmaster Kumi for taking over for me while I was gone, and she did a wonderful job. Thank you very much. Everything is okay for next week, but the 29th, we need two more evaluators and some small duty takers. And Toastmasters say you signed up for being Vermarian 2 weeks in a row. So maybe you don't want to do that, but we'd love to have you if you want to. So I'll pass this around, starting here. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Today we have 3 guests. Okay, Mr. Takebayashi, you come here 4 times.
Now he's
Member.
maybe I should I propose?
No, he's a-
I have one more announcement. It's about Toastmasters. He officially became our club member. So he has already been a Toastmaster member for a long time, so he doesn't need to motion.
Okay.
Just
Alright.
report. Welcome.
Thank you.
So Mr. Samitsu, could you introduce yourself briefly?
Good evening. My name is Shigehiro Hisamitsu. This is the second time as a guest, and I'd like to enjoy today's meeting. Thank you.
And could you give me your name and give us your name and introduce yourself briefly?
Hi, good evening, everybody. I'm Pei Ying. I'm a guest of Jia Hui. I just arrived from Hong Kong yesterday. So today I walk a lot, so I'm not here to relax and to listen to whatever people have prepared, and hopefully I will have a very nice evening with all of you. Thank you.
So today's our key only is not violinist. Ian Asahi, big applause.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests.
Good evening.
We had 3 consecutive holidays last week. And how did you spend your long weekend? As for me, I went to a concert of Senju Mariko, violinist, and I saw her play the violin at the very front seat. And I watched her play, and I learned a lot from her. And I wish I could play 1% as well as her in the future. Let's get down to business. Let me introduce today's duty takers. First of all, the word of the day. First, TN Kamayo was supposed to do this job, but she's got to go to Nagari for some commitments. So, TN Toastmaster Sayako willingly volunteered to fill in for Kamayo-san. Thank you very much.
Today was I chose audio. That thing is demanding great care or effort or labor, difficult or strenuous. For example, climbing Mount Everest is arduous, exhausting, arduous, and arduous, exhausting challenge. And another example, the arduous task of doing the research for my term paper. So please try to use this word as many times as possible in this meeting, and your art penalty will be cancelled. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, our counter. This duty was also should be supposed to be taken by Toastmaster Honda, but he's absent for some reason. And Toastmaster Otake volunteered to do the job.
Yes, good evening. During the meeting, I checked unnecessary words or sounds in your speech. And I check and record them, how many times I hear those words or sounds, and I report the results at the end of the meeting, and also I pass around this wallet. You may have to pay the 10 yen for each usage. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next, our grammarian is Toastmaster Sei.
Good evening, everyone. I'm tonight's grammarian, so I'll be making earliest effort to catch for inappropriate usage of English language, and also or more for beautiful, efficient, and memorable expressions. At the end of the meeting, I'll report my findings. Thank you.
Our timer is Toastmaster Atsuko. Maybe is this your first time to do this job? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. I'm today's timer. I will take the responsibility for the time management of speech. So I will time your speeches and we will show these cards at each session. So at the table topic session, we've got maximum 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So I will show the green card at 1 minute. So I will show 1 minute after 1 minute the green card, and yellow will be shown at 1 minute 30 seconds. The red card will be 2 minutes. Also, I will ring the bell. For the prepared speakers, two speakers are given maximum 7 minutes. So I will show green card at 5 minutes, and I will show the yellow card at 6 minutes, and the red card will be at 7 minutes. Toastmaster Kenji-san, I will show the green card at 3 minutes, and the yellow card will be 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and red card will be 4 minutes. So, after evaluation session, each evaluator was given maximum 3 minutes 30 seconds. So I will show the green card at 2 minutes, and the yellow card will be 2 minutes 30 seconds, and the red one will be shown at 3 minutes. Then I will report the time at the end of the session. I'll do my best with this support.
This is her first time to be a timer, so let's cheer on her first job. And finally, the vote counter, Toastmaster Tozo, please.
I'll be the vote counter tonight. Please vote for guest speaker for each 3 sessions. One address job for the vote counter is being a tiebreaker when the vote is tied. Please make your writing clear.
Before we move on to table topic session, I'd like to introduce many donations by Ginger, Toastmaster Ginger from America, and from Sat,
Yes.
from
Taiwan.
From Toastmaster Sayako from Tokyo. Tokyo. Okay. And for the first best speaker, prepared speaker, Kayo-san prepared this. Maybe Kayo-san don't get this. Okay, thank you very much. Now, shall we move on to the table topic session? The table topic master tonight is Toastmaster Rie. This is her second time to do this job. I asked her how she spent her long weekend. She answered that she went to Sapporo Beer Garden in Sapporo. With her co-workers. Actually, they wanted to do imonikai, but they didn't want to prepare by themselves. Instead, they went to the restaurant and had a nice dinner. It sounds she had a very delicious weekend. Please help me welcome Toastmaster Rie.
Good evening, everyone. It was Cultural Day last weekend, and today's POD team Asahi asked us a question regarding the Cultural Day weekend. So I want to talk about the culture today. I believe we need arduous training for the cultural activity. So my question goes to TM Fujinuma. Could I ask, what cultural activity do you do? Please share your story. I know you are a scientist.
Yeah.
But probably you do some artistic things.
Cultural
Activity.
How should I say? Cultural activity. I live in Tagado City now. The city has many interesting and historical culture. And I visited Tagado Castle, the remnant of Tagado-san Castle. It was very broad, vast field, but there is not castle, other castle. But you can maybe imagine the big castle. Then anyway, some kind of history can't see by outside, but if we can stand on the field, we can imagine them with our imagination. So it's very meaningful for me. And yes, that's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your story. I didn't know there were Tagado Castle no more. So there is no more. But
That's field.
probably like you said, very beautiful castle. Thank you very much for your story. And my second question, I think movies are also the culture. I believe. TM Ginger, welcome back home, not Sendai. Please share your story regarding the movie. If you have an experience to play as a movie, please tell a story about it. Or anything about the movie. Do you have any favorite movie or something like that? Please share your opinion or anything about the movie.
A movie, any movie.
Any movie, your favorite one.
The Magnificent Seven. Truly, my favorite movie from all time. I love it. I've seen it probably 20 times. I love the music. I love all the characters. I love the Wild West. I love, you know from my story about being a cowgirl at heart, I think The Magnificent Seven. Lots of people died, but it's not like a murder story. It's a Western, and it's a cowboy story, saving a small town in the early days of the West. And Yul Brynner and all of his cohorts were so wonderful. They've done a remake of it, and I must admit, it's one of the few remakes I've seen that is really quite good. With Denzel Washington, I think, plays the part that Yul Brynner had. I love all Westerns, and today I watched another one on the television, The Sons of Katie Elder with John Wayne, and it was also wonderful because I love to watch the horses. And there were many, many, many horses in the picture today, and also in the one with Yul Brynner. And it was interesting, The Magnificent Seven, because they were all different characters, and of the Magnificent Seven, 3 survived, and one of those 3 stayed in the village they were rescuing because he was going to marry one of the women who lived in the village. So it was okay, but it was so wonderful. And if you haven't seen it, how many of you have seen The Magnificent Seven? The original one? Oh, I can't believe it. It's so good. And it's so wonderful. And it's on television sometimes. And the music alone is magnificent. And it's an arduous trial to see it again because it doesn't come to Japan very often. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I didn't know the movie, but I heard the Japanese name is Koya no Shijin. Koya no Shijin. Probably if you hear about it, maybe some more people ever seen this.
The more people have seen it then? No? Foolish people. Wonderful.
I will check about it. Thank you very much. Thank you. And for the cultural activity, I think we need some help to do it and some trigger to start a cultural activity. My next question is, how do you think about the Sendai city's system to promote citizens' cultural activity? Or do you think have you enough facilities for the cultural activity in Sendai? TM Katahashi, please.
Thinking about cultural activities for Sendai citizens, I just believe everything is wonderful. Because Sendai city is my 11th city where I live, and no doubt I can say that Sendai city outstands in terms of cultural activities for citizens. My favorites jazz festival. The other day on Sunday there was a gospel festival, and I saw Sendai classic music. And of course, we shouldn't forget the festivals. Our festival and the midwinter, what I should say, light. The light? Yeah, illumination, of course. And in snow. In January, people worship the native festival. So many more. Living in Sendai is a blessing for people who live in Sendai for years, and also for people like me who live in Sendai just temporarily, and I just enjoy participating or even viewing the festivals. So I am very grateful to people who support those festivals because I believe mainly volunteer workers are the ones who support the events, those events. And I hope many more volunteers will participate and promote those festivals for many years to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I've also surprised to see a lot of festivals in Sendai. Yes, thank you very much. Okay, I think writing sentences or stories are also one of the cultural activities. Maybe making a speech is one of the culture as well. My next question is, what is a good tip to making a speech or writing sentence? TM Hiroya, please. Really? I'm sorry. Okay, then TM Michihiro, please share your tip.
Your question is,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
What is a good tip of making a speech or a sentence?
What is a good tip for making culture story?
Speech or sentence. It can be a cultural story.
Yes. Yeah. As I said before, as a chosen, I couldn't speak about it. Once again, I want to talk about Matsuo Basho. He took an Aja's trip, going around there, around Tohoku area or furthermore. And why did he take such an Aja's trip? I think he can make some poet, many poets to encounter many people, by encounter many people. So that's why by doing so, he can make such a story and individually, and so also so when you say this time I couldn't say fully. Thank you.
I believe to making a poet need a very deep observation. Probably observation is one of the key. Thank you very much. And I believe cooking is one of the culture as well. I used to have a friend, he doesn't like the coffee, not the milk as well, but he likes the coffee milk. My next question is, please share a good tip to make dislike food to favorite food. TM Mako? TM Daniel?
Oh no, this is an arduous question. I was afraid it was coming my way. How to make something...
Some dislike food to favorite food.
Dislike food to favorite food, okay. Maybe 2 tips. One is put a lot of Tabasco on it. Or some kind of sauce or some kind of spice that you like, and to disguise the flavor and make it your favorite flavor, your favorite sauce. The other tip would be, from what I've heard many parents do when they have young children who don't like to eat vegetables. you put them in the blender and you mix them up. And maybe add some fruit juice or apple juice or something or orange juice. And then you can, it's like a soup or like a sauce. And you could put it on yogurt or put it on granola or something like this. And then the children will eat their vegetables when they don't like their vegetables. So you should try this out with asparagus or broccoli or things like this sometime when you go home. So go home and have a good time experimenting in your kitchen. Thank you.
Making a juice is good tip, I guess. I do sometimes same things. Thank you very much. Japan has a good reputation of subculture. One of this is animation. Please evaluate a Japanese animation, or if you have any suggestions, please share about it. Can you start?
I was hoping it's Team Hiroyuki, but I guess it's me. Good evening, everyone. I guess since childhood anime, Japanese animation has become part of my childhood, probably because it has a special way in telling a story that is different from what I've grown up to. I believe it could be in the presentation, in the illustration, and the music that's used. When I was a kid, I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z, Astro Boy, and other well-known animation series. As I grew up, in high school and in college and university and so on, I noticed that there were some things that changed, like the quality of the animation or the themes that are used. And it's quite arduous to see the development in themes because many of the topics are very light and fluffy, are presented in a very fluffy way, or in ways that may not be appropriate for children at a specific age. However, besides the success of the Miyazaki films from Studio Ghibli, and the success of Kimi no Na wa last year, I think Japanese animation is in a very good position on the world stage in introducing Japanese culture to younger generations. And on my recent trip to Taiwan and Singapore, I was amazed to see how Japanese animation is respected as part of a way to show culture to a younger generation. Kind of like a gateway of sorts to get the kids really excited about it. So how would I evaluate Japanese animation? It's a really cool thing, and I'm glad to have grown up and experienced it with my friends and with everyone else today. Thank you very much.
I'm so happy to hear foreign people like you, Japanese animation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My next one is I believe great artists got financial support from the wealthy family. My next question is, do you want to support a young artist? If so, who do you want to support? Please tell the reason as well. Team Chafe?
Avoiding the eye contact. Yes, absolutely. To support a young artist, I must have a lot of money to begin with. So suppose I have a lot of money and I want to support a young artist. Who should I give the money to? This is a very exciting question and a very obvious question. So I think I'm going to pick someone who is now working on a conventional art, who dares to try maybe new media, and then maybe the combination with things together. So someone has these adventurous spirits to reach things together. So one of the examples is probably I have a dancer friend who happens to be a brain scientist at the same time. So what he did was he studied how brain helps people or impairs people from appreciating the dance performance. And that is very difficult because for artists who used to think in an artistical way, it's a very different expression as a scientist who values logic and reason. And then to put the two things together, it is a result that's not appreciated by either side to begin with. So I think that's the kind of artist who needs a lot of support. So this support not only to pay for the apartment, to pay for the food, probably also have to pay for the scientific equipment he needs for study the dance movement, for the travel, to support him to convince the two communities to really see these things. So if I have all the money I have and have to support a young artist, I will put my money on someone who is daring to try something new.
It's a good news. Thank you very much. Okay, my next question is, I believe fashion is one of the culture as well. Please inform the season's trend or your favorite fashion. TM Takebayashi, please tell me your favorite fashion.
Good question. I'm not a fashion savvy person, but I somehow care for what I wear. Especially my first winter in Sendai, so I already bought kind of warm like a coat, jacket, and underwear. And let's see if it works in the Sendai winter. Well, in my workplace fashion, it's just like this. Pretty much casual, not so formal like his. yeah. Because I don't know, this is very, very comfortable for me. But just, my dress code is, in my classroom, I always did a shirt with color. So no t-shirts, no just only my dress code in my workplace. Well, that's all I can say about your question. And I really looking forward to enjoying winter Sendai.
Thank you very much. Winter in Sendai is very strong wind, so it's probably it will be our last questions. My last question is, I believe teaching children art is quite arduous. Next question is, what is important to teach drawing art or music to children? TM Ono, please tell me.
Drawing, teach children. Drawing art. Oh my God. Thank you for very arduous question. I'm making the test now. This is final term examination for senior students. And one of my questions is English sentences. After that, draw a picture about the story. This is my question, instead of translation into Japanese. So, yeah, I think I'm genius to make such a question. And I often use music in my lesson, and I often I just want my students to listen to English songs. Yeah, and for making their life wealthy. Yeah. So yeah, I often use music and picture in my lesson. Yeah, that's all. Thank you very much.
The music is very nice and it's probably very good. So thank you very much. I think this is okay. Today we have a team Fujinuma, team Ginger, team Katahashi, team Michihiro, team Daniel, team Sat, team Chase, team Takebayashi, and team Ono. Please, 10 words report, please. Everyone was qualified. Okay, thank you very much. Please go to the Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. She managed to handle arduous job as a table topic master. Thank you very much. Did you notice there was a fly flying around here? I killed. I'm really good at it. For you, it's an arduous job, but it's a cinch for me. I am very proud of my agility. Thank you. So please vote. I missed my notebook.
Such a talented.
Now, let's move on to the prepared speech session. The first speaker tonight is Toastmaster Kayo. Toastmaster Kayo is a very experienced member here, and I think she's a stunning representative of working women. And she's always busy, but she never fails to make us happy by I asked her how she spent her long weekend. She said, although she was very busy, as I thought she was very busy on the culture day, she had to work and attend an important meeting. But next day, Kayo-san and Tozo-san celebrated Kayo-san's parents' 50th golden anniversary. And they had a nice Chinese lunch with Tozo-san's parents. I bet they had a quality family time. The evaluator for her speech is Toastmaster Ginger.
Yes, and I'm sorry, I shouldn't have been that because it was I was standing.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, but you're evaluator.
Yes.
Yes. I am. Could you read the objective?
Toastmaster Kayo is giving a speech entitled, Why Does This Brand Fascinate People? Her objectives are, in the get to the point number 3, select a speech topic and determine its general and specific purposes, organize the speech in a manner that best achieves these purposes, ensure the beginning, body, and conclusion reinforce the purposes, project sincerity and conviction, and control any nervousness you may feel. Strive not to use notes. Thank you.
Hey, let's welcome Toastmaster Kayo.
Give me 1 minute. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Tonight, I'd like to pick up one country. This country has a strong brand. Now, let me introduce about this country. Economics, so-so. a lot of deficit. Unemployment rate is very high, 50, especially younger generation. Politics awful. I'm afraid there are very unbelievable scandals happening recently. However, food, bravo. Culture, fantastic. So history, fantastico. That is Italy. Yes, yeah. Italy. So let me. Yeah. Sorry, Italy. So let me introduce. Actually, Italy itself is a strong brand in the world. So let me introduce why this country is very strong as a brand. So first of all, let me introduce about the jacket. Oh, jacket. So fashion area, Italy is very strong. So say all-san. So this is Armani jacket. Oh, nice. This is made in Japan, but made in Italy. Why? Let's say. Why this is different? I think the manufacturer in process is same. As similar, Japan has a strong technology and machinery. Why made in Italy Armani is strong? What do you think? Really similar. But the reason is what and please take a look carefully. Tate ito, yoko ito. That this subtle color, combination of subtle color, we cannot copy and imitate because this is a gusto, good sense. I mean, Italian people are good at this combination. Color is the strongest of their jacket. So even though we have a lot of good technology, we cannot imitate this fact. This is the strength of Italian fashion. Next one is okay. Let me introduce why people are particular about the color. In Roma city, there are 900 churches. 900. So the arts, painting, and sculpture is a part of their life. And the mothers in Italy teach their children, oh, you have a brown eyes, so this color go with you. From small age. So the gusto is, how can I say, the minakareru. So from the special education for Italian people. Next one is car industry in Italy. So of course, Japanese car is has a strong brand. So let's say we are our project team, and for example, Nissan, and starting a new model. What is the most important things? What do you think? The design, concept, price, many things we have to discuss. Actually, in Japanese car industry, the most important thing is a budget. Budget is a god. I'm afraid recently there are lots of scandals on the car industry, and this is one reason I think. On the other hand, the car industry in Italy, what is most important things? Design, yes. Designer is highly respected, and the car industry pays lots of money, tremendous money on designers. Designer starts from philosophy. What is a car? What is the meaning for human being? So they started discussing from philosophy. So in Japanese car industry, budget is God. Italian car industry, philosophy is God. This is the difference. So finally, as a part of this conclusion, let me introduce Michelangelo's story. one church offers him a painting, give him a painting of a peaceful, nice picture for this church. Then Michelangelo answers, "Oh, we need this amount of money." He said answered. Then church said, "Oh, it's too expensive because this is 5 times bigger than usual. No, soba amount." But Michelangelo says, "Sir, it's not expensive. You will thank me later." So, I understand his point because his masterpieces keep attracting tourists for 500 years. So strong power. It has strong power. So I think this is a key of Italian culture, and this is the strength of the brand of Italy. Thank you very much.
Toastmaster Atsuko-san, could you time 1 minute for writing comments?
1 minute.
Thank you. Now, the next speaker is Toastmaster Kenji. He often travels to Asian countries, but we don't know what he's doing there. I like his mysteriousness. But during this weekend, he was surely in Japan. I asked him what he was doing during the long weekend. His answer was that over the weekend he was watching Japan series of professional baseball games. He was cheering for DNA as he is always a rooter for the underdog. In Japanese, Hangan Beach. Which is sympathy for a tragic hero. It was such a dramatic ending that yes, DNA definitely became a tragic hero. Toastmaster Mako evaluates his speech. Mako-san, could you read the specific points?
Today, mysterious Kenji's project is Advanced Manual Special Occasion Speech. Presenting an award. Objectives are present an award with dignity and grace. Acknowledge the contribution of the recipient. And time is 3 to 4 minutes.
Thank you. His speech title is Installation Ceremony of SFM. Please help me welcome Toastmaster Kenji.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming all the way to attend this installation ceremony of Sendai Fraud Masters. As you know, Sendai Fraud Master has a very high reputation because we have produced a lot of professional swindlers. Today's MC is Fraud Master Kenji, and we made a record profit last year after we cheated so many innocent people. Okay, let's introduce new officer, Fraud Master Owner President. At first, he refused to accept this job by saying, "Oh no." Finally accepted and working very hard to make the Sendai Fraud Masters environment very good for us to be a professional swindlers. And Fraud Master Ginger, Vice President Education. As you notice, she somehow changed her way how to appoint our member to take up the duties. When there's no volunteer, she has no hesitation but to appoint somebody. That's great. We have chance. We don't have any excuse to train ourselves to be more professional. Thank you for your just do it style action. Okay, main event. First, Rookie of the Year. Please raise your hand if you are a member who joined within the last 12 months. Please. Okay, Rookie of the Year, Roadmaster Fujinuma. You have a very innocent face. Baby face. So you can deceive everybody. Female, young, or old. And his mentor is wonderful. Roadmaster Ishido. He's a retired policeman. But he knows actual fraud cases a lot. Thank you very much training him. Okay, next, Fraud Master of the Year. This year's Fraud Master of the Year is Fraud Master Asahi. As you know, she opened up a high-end bar lounge somewhere in Kokubuncho. She cheated so many rich businessmen and wealthy people after opening that place. The club is so expensive, but most of the customers don't even notice that they're cheated, overcharged. With her sweet smile and elegant, sweet words, most customers are willing to pay much more than the bill. This is what we call Asahi Madamix. Mr. Abe should learn something from her in order to make Abenomics much more stronger. Also, she has a very good staff, Roadmaster Sayako. Very good Shimama. And thank you very much for training the new staff, Roadmaster Asuko, Roadmaster Kuni. Under your guidance, they will be a great swindlers as well. And another good hostess is Jiahui, Roadmaster. Thank you very much for luring many wealthy businessmen from Taiwan and Hong Kong. So, our presentation is finished. Now we have a party. As you know, being a swindler is a very arduous job. Please enjoy. And the venue is, of course, Fraud Master Asahi's place. So be careful not to be cheated.
Okay. Please write your comments on the sheet. 1 minute. Okay. Now let me introduce our third prepared speaker, Toastmaster Hiroya, who came back from 1 year study in America this autumn. He is a senior of Tohoku University majoring in education. How did he spend his long weekend? He said he spent his holiday with his friends. He and his friends went to the school festival, Tohoku University Festival. It was his last opportunity to participate in the festival as a student. And he enjoyed a lot. He will miss his university life next year. Okay. Toastmaster Hiroyuki evaluates Hiroya-san's speech.
Okay. Today his project is Sushi Manual number 2, Organize Your Speech. His objective is 4. Select an appropriate outline which allows listeners to easily follow and understand your speech. Make your message clear with supporting material directly contributing to the message. Use appropriate transition when moving from one idea to another. Create a strong opinion and conclusion.
Thank you. His speech title is Work to Live or Live to Work. Let us welcome Toastmaster Hiroya.
Since 2 weeks ago, I have been thinking of my topic. I'm majoring in education, so I wanted to talk education, but I don't want to talk about education in front of my professor. I love studying English, but I don't want to talk about English in front of professional English teachers. So it was tough, but finally I decided my title. The title is, I talk about my philosophy. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome to guests. Last weekend, as Jie Masaki-san introduced me, I hung out with my friends for the first time in a while. And I'm still a college student because of some reasons, but my friends have already graduated and they are now employees. They talked about their jobs, and I'm sorry, I put on contact lenses, but I can't see this. Okay, but unfortunately, their stories didn't make me feel excited because they told me students' life was much easier and greater than their life now. So as I listened to their stories, I began to think about my future, why I work and how I work. So it's important for me because I graduate in next April, next March, I believe so, and I start to work in next April. So my title is Work to Live, or Live to Work. I talk about both of them, and next I want to share my philosophy in the end. And first I discuss Live to Work perspective, Live to Work philosophy. In general, Live to Work perspective is not preferable for most people. I understand why it isn't, because we were born to live, not we were born to work. However, in Japan, even though many people don't like the perspective, they are forced to live to work. According to OECD, one of the biggest research institutions, conducted a research about work-life balance, which shows how much we work and how much we play. And Japan ranks 33rd out of 38 countries. As a developed country, Japan is the second worst country. The worst country is Korea. Recently also, I've heard a sad news that a female employee who worked in Dentsu Corporation committed suicide due to overwork. The tragedy shows Live to Work philosophy. Socrates, in Japanese, Socrates, one of the most remarkable and famous philosophers, says, "Thou shouldst eat to live, not live to eat." It means you should not eat to live, not live to eat. It means eat is just a means, and live is the very end. It can be applied to work to live or live to work discussion. So far, live to work perspective sounds completely wrong. Then, how about work to live perspective? Work to live perspective seems to be preferable for many people, unlike live to work perspective. If we work to live, we don't have to sacrifice our private life because we truly understand how we live is the most important thing. We can avoid that kind of tragedy I mentioned above. Work is just a means, and live is the very end. It sounds perfect. Is this the perspective philosophy we should really respect? But however, imagine if your parents were really rich, so rich that you got much money from them, enough to live, and you don't have to work. Would you be happy? Okay. Some of them would be happy, but I would not be happy. Why? Because it's not easy to answer. But I believe, or I think, somewhere in my mind, I hope work is not only a means, but also something that satisfies me, satisfies my life. In this room, I guess there is no one who have never felt satisfied by working. It is true that work is a means, but taking it into account that work affects us a lot, such as where we live, who we communicate, and how much we spend time, work cannot be just a means. I'm afraid work to live perspective can justify the idea that work is just a means and it is not meaningful or it is not important. But if it is not, we are supposed to spend at least 49 hours per week in doing something meaningful. Meaningless. So live to work perspective, it's dangerous. But I want to exaggerate the point that perspective also shows that work is one of the most important aspects of us, of our life. And on the other hand, work to live perspective seems to be perfect, but it can lead us to justify that work is just a means. Both of them have pros and cons. So my conclusion, there's no correct or wrong answer, of course. It depends on people, it depends on philosophy. But which do I prefer? Live to work or work to live? It's confusing. Work to live. My answer is, I don't like neither of them. And also, I like both of them. I don't always want to criticize my private life due to work, but also, at the same time, I don't want to regard work as just a means. So I create my own philosophy. Work to enjoy my life. If I really love the job, or in the future, I may be willing to devote my life to it. But if I feel cannot enjoy my life because of it, I stop doing so and spend doing something that I can really enjoy from my heart. I know it doesn't always happen in the work. Sometimes it should be arduous. But I want work to be the one which makes me satisfied and enjoyable. I don't want to live to work. I don't want to work to live. I want to work to enjoy my life. That's my philosophy. Am I a dreamer? So naive? What do you think? What is your philosophy? Please share your philosophy with me, with us. Thank you.
You're coming out of it.